Hello, I'm Malcolm Haslett. With the proliferation of platforms, print media, email and TV all screaming out for our attention, how do advertisers break through in an overpopulated commercial market? We'll find out just how to do that with our next guest on OurTime. And welcome to OurTime. Our guest on this episode is Glen Curnow, who actually is from a company that he owns called Explosive
Promotions.
Yes. That nearly didn't come out right. Glen, it's interesting because you started off as a performer.
That's right, yeah.
And probably because of that, you can read the public well, I imagine.
I hope so, yeah. Early acting and singing and putting on performances, and knowing how hard it is to get your message across.
Yeah, but that can be in anything from being a performer or being, basically selling anything to the public.
That's right. Events and all that.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
And the reality is that with print media sort of fading a bit from view, we all used to be able to put an ad in the paper and people would know what was going on.
That's right,
That's not the case anymore.
That's right. We'd pick up the paper on a Thursday afternoon and we'd look through the gig guide and see everything that's happening that weekend. And
I don't think even the movies are in the paper anymore.
I don't think so, no.
So if you're not computer literate and you don't really understand how to use search engines and stuff, although I think more people are becoming more comfortable with that. But the problem with that is you don't actually know something is happening unless you see it somewhere.
Right. Yeah. And, I think that could be a bit saturated as well. People start to turn off from all that. It's just too much coming out.
Well, they do. If they don't wake up to what's going on in the first couple of seconds, it's all over Red Rover.
That's right, yeah.
So let's talk about, I love that you're a knight in a suit of armour.
That's right, yes. Well, we do lots of crazy promotions to promote different events. And, the one, this particular event is... requires someone dressing in a knight costume, and a lot of my staff always want to do that one, but I say no. That's my gig. That's me. I'm doing the knight. There's no.
Does the knight have a name?
I think we came up with it. It was something silly like Sir Goodnight or something.
Oh, okay, Sir Goodnight.
Yeah.
Sir Cellular.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, with my lovely maiden helping out as well.
Oh, right.
One of our lovely
but you've
staff.
got a whole lot of characters.
Yes, yeah.
But I suppose it's the innovative ways that you've got to come up with.
That's right, yeah.
To be in front of the public.
Yeah.
So how did all this start? How did all this sort of weave its way from print media, printing posters and those sorts of things to what you're now doing?
It's a good question, yeah. It's been a bit of a journey. I started this business 21 years ago, so it's been a lot of a change. At the beginning, print media and posters and that type of thing. And now we've progressed to walking billboards.
And in a way that's funny because that was a thing of the past.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
We see in America people walking around in the Depression with the billboards on the front and back.
They've come a little bit further than that now. They're a bit more technical. They light up and things like that.
Yeah, but the point is it's still the same sort of logic. It's letting people know who aren't reading papers.
Yeah, that's right.
Because in those days that would have been the only... I suppose radio would have been a great informer at that time.
Yeah.
Are we going backwards, do you think, in that sense?
Like we are more street marketing, so I guess our objective is to get the information straight into the hands of the people. And so I guess, back to the old days, the newspaper crier on the side of the street.
Here, ding dong.
That's right. I haven't got a bell, but we could...
You can work on it. No, you probably couldn't do that now, could you?
Probably not,
because that would be disturbing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But, I mean, you should see the... expression on some people's faces when they've come up the escalator at the railway station to seeing a knight standing there handing out a flyer.
Exactly.
So, it's something unique.
And is it rude not to take a flyer, do you think? Because so often, you're giving your heart and soul to tell people about something and they just walk away or look at you like you're rubbish.
Exactly. Well, you've only got a small window now because most people have got their earphones in. They're not going to hear a word.
The phone.
That's right. They're not going to hear anything you say anyway. So if you're especially dressed in a night costume, they immediately think you're not just the normal guy handing something out. Must be something special. So these little ways of just attracting the people's
attention.
Guess, yeah. So we got to do it to get that flyer out into people's hands. Yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. But in a lot of cases, it's to the person's advantage that receives that, because it does tell you about something you don't know anything about.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And you'll often have people walk past, but then turn around and go, "Oh, actually, yeah, I will take that because I wasn't, they're in a different mode."
But you're not just a night. That's
right, not just a good night.
So a good night. I sell a lot like. No, because posters used to be a great informer as well.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that there's not as many, like at a fringe time, for example, here in South Australia.
Yeah.
And I've noticed in Melbourne as well when I've been there. During the fringes or the comedy festival in Melbourne, there are posters everywhere to the point that, you're sort of like, it's too many.
Yeah, too much. So again, that's where we come into it with we have bike billboards, like push bikes that tie around a little banner. We have the walking billboards.
Okay, right.
Yep.
I love this innovation, which is why I ask you on the program, because I'd never really considered how difficult it was or is, and how you've just got to come up with some harebrained ideas to see if you can connect.
That's right, yeah. Footpath decals on the street now,
and on the push buttons
for
the
buzzer covers on the advertising on the.
Do you have to get special permission for that?
Who's watching this?
Nobody. That's important.
That's a grey area.
It's a grey area. With a colourful little stick on.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you go and remove them afterwards?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
See, I suppose that's...
Yeah. With the footpath decals, yes, you have to have council permission.
Because that's decals on the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
Other things we do are magnet bombing, where it's just, a magnet, a bunch of magnets just thrown around on the street onto...
oh, really?
Yeah. And people will come along and go, oh, okay.
What's that? Take it home, put it on your fridge?
Put it on your fridge,
Right.
And
now, that's going to get harder because a lot of the new kitchens, the fridges have wooden doors, so you can't stick them.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Well, I don't know where they're going to stick them, but it's unique because people are just taking them, and it's not really affecting anything. It's just sticking onto them. Yeah. So we recently did that for National Science Week with magnets, the buzzer covers, the walking billboards, the decals on the ground, a whole bunch of things for National Science Week, and of course we've got another exciting one coming up pretty soon, and we're doing core flute signs for that one, and buzzer covers, and what else are we doing for that one? Posters.
Well, again, it's to capture the public's interest with something that's bright, colourful.
Yes.
With very little words, I guess. It really only needs a couple of key elements.
Yeah, that's right.
So how do you advise somebody, like I come to you and say, I'm making bread and it's new bread. How do I sell this bread?
Yeah, right. Okay, well, not only do we do that, but we also do in-store supermarket sampling. So we have my staff set up little stands in the supermarket, and they'll sample. You've probably seen them in the supermarkets. Yeah, so we do all that type of thing as well. So if, of course, it was a new bread, that would be perfect, and we actually have done that before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so...
all right. So I've got a new brand of socks to sell.
All right, yes.
How would I do that?
Well, okay, now...
We haven't pre-asked any of these questions,
that's right,
so I'm really throwing it at you. But I guess this is what happens, because a client would come to you saying, how can I get the public to hear about this?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Socks.
Well, we could have someone dressed up as a sock mascot. We could make mascots. Yeah, we do a few mascots for different people, and we organise the mascots for them. We can get them designed for them. So I reckon a giant sock running around the city would be pretty good. I reckon.
There you go. Look what I've just suggested. And we'll be back to find out more from Glen in just a moment. Welcome back. We're talking with Glen Curnow from Explosive Promotions. Glen, getting into promotions business actually wasn't your first choice in life. You started really as a performer, as a very young man.
Yes, yeah. In high school or in primary school, went to acting classes, did a number of performances, and back at the Tivoli, which doesn't even exist anymore, does it?
No, sadly.
Yeah, and high school musicals, and then went into some more acting, and then my career turned more into the music side of things.
Yeah,
and so I was in a heavy metal band.
I love this. Did you do your own original stuff with heavy metal, or were you just a Ozzy Osbourne impersonator?
The Ozzy Osbourne thing came later. So
right. I love that.
The original band back in the day, we did our original songs that we wrote.
So you were making a lot of noise.
Yes,
who
a lot
wrote
of noise.
what?
Yeah. I would usually write the lyrics, and the boys would write the music.
So you were the singer with
That's
the
right.
Yeah.
Yes, And as we said, we did get some good reviews all around the world, actually, and England and Japan, Germany, Brazil. Some great reviews on. We released a demo, and so we got some great reviews. But
a lot of us, including myself, started with bands as singers.
Yeah.
And our careers have sort of gone in various directions, but you're still more or less in the entertainment industry.
That's right.
Because you're really sort of entertaining with really to try and capture people's interest. But was it difficult? Like, obviously you got married and had a family, and was that what changed everything for you? Or could you have continued to work within the music business?
I think so. Having a family was important, and then not so serious with the band. That's when I decided to do the Ozzy Osbourne type of thing. A bit more fun. And so the Ozzy Osbourne show type of thing was a full stage show with costumes and makeup and the hair and everything.
What was his main sort of claim to fame? What terrible thing did he do?
Well, yeah, lots of things, but I think probably
that you can talk about.
I think the one he's mostly infamous for is biting the bat head off on stage.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Of course, he didn't really do that, but...
Well, yeah, he did, but yeah. He had to go and get rabies shots, actually, so...
Really?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
My goodness, you'd have to have something sort of not quite scrambled eggs in your brain to do something like that.
Well, that's Aussie for you, that's right, yeah. So I've never bitten I've never bitten any animals' heads off at all.
How nice.
Yeah, and... that was one stipulation of joining. I said, I'm not biting any...
Isn't it funny, though? Who was the other fella that also did some sort of...
Oh, Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper.
Think, yeah, something about a chicken or something.
Yes, which he never really did, as he's explained. He never really did. Right. It was just like a magic bit.
That's right. But these stories, they become legend.
They do become legend.
Yeah, and it doesn't really hurt them in the end. It's good. Any publicity,
Any publicity is good. Says the man who runs the company that does exactly that.
That's right.
But that is interesting because... I suppose that was the attention-getting things that made them famous.
Yeah, that's right.
It was the folk stories that developed because of that.
Yeah. So,
were you a fan yourself?
Yeah, I was, and that's why it was fun to do, because it was being a fan and being able to act out. Well, it was again acting and singing. It was performing on stage,
exactly.
And
that's all it ever is,
right.
really.
Yeah.
You build up this big sort of. Fake story around you.
Yeah.
In a way, they're the instigators of fake news, I suppose.
Yeah,
people
maybe.
like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The fun thing about being Aussie, it didn't matter if you messed up because everyone thought you were just in character.
Yes, and they all thought they were all very high on drugs or whatever they were taking. I suppose it was very much an experimental time.
Yeah, right.
Was that difficult for you growing up in that time period?
Oh no, not at all.
Because of those sort of pressures, though.
Yeah, I guess so. But it was all, it was about the music for us, And
it was.
Yeah,
you were focused on the music.
Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't the after parties and all that.
I'm not going to say there wasn't any partying going on. There was quite a bit, but That's another story, I guess.
So using that sort of background knowledge and how to create the character and is that what sort of led you into the promotions thing, or did somebody give you a job to say, hey, dress up and do this for us?
Yeah, I think so, because before I started Explosive Promotions, before that I was just working for various venues and hotels around the city, helping them set up their nightclubs or setting up their theme nights or organising their promotions for them. And having all that experience, booking bands, bringing bands over from interstate and setting them up, and having that knowledge and of being...
And you didn't go broke?
Oh, well, I'll tell
like a lot of people have?
Well, there was a few shows that we'd brought some artists over from interstate that didn't go well, and you've got to take the good with the bad.
And I suppose but that's what the general public probably aren't aware of, the risk that you have to take to do these things.
That's right, yeah. And look, I've been in the situation now where now that we're promoting it, and if something if something's cancelled, we've already done the job. I'll actually talk to the promoter and say, look, perhaps we'll let this one fly.
Well, we've all had to do that because of the COVID lockdowns.
Yeah, that's right.
And, you could spend an enormous amount of both time and money setting something up and then suddenly, bang, it's all over.
That's right, yeah.
And whilst it's okay to complain about having to sit at home or teach your kids or whatever else, it's the other issues that are happening in all walks of life. I mean, entertainment is just one of them.
Yeah. I really feel for some of the artists that they're not being able to make their living at the moment. They can't
it's
tour.
Not just the artists, it's the promoters, it's the venues, it's everything.
Right. Yeah, the behind the scenes people, roadies. All that type
roadies
of,
particularly.
Yeah.
And sort of most performers don't qualify for any government assistance or weren't before. They may be more so now, but I suppose like many people who love the career that they're involved with, you could be a research scientist but not able to go to work to research. That must be just as frustrating. So it's not just those of us who are in, show business as such. So as part of the work that you do, obviously you would have had to buy a lot of new machinery because the technology of things have changed.
That's right, yeah. We've got a warehouse full of crazy contraptions, I guess. Like I said, bike billboards and walking billboards and digital billboards.
Well, Call Flute has changed everything too.
Yeah, that's right.
Like plastic cardboard, I call it.
Yes, the Call
Flute. Because you're printing on that, whereas it's like in the theatre, a lot of scenery now is printed on stuff like that rather than the old painted canvas that we used to have.
But, I think it was fun doing I used to do a bit of behind the scenes stuff and painting props and things like that, making props. That's always good fun. But technology certainly helped, I guess. Yeah,
helped and changed, and I suppose in some ways it's put the people that used to do that out of work. But the people that are technologically savvy or the designers are able to design things that would be too difficult to paint, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
And the size. What's the biggest thing you can print?
Oh, boy. We do sort of big backdrops for openings. So I'm hopeless with measurements.
With sizes. They're big. They're big. And we'll be back to talk about more big things in just a moment. We've been talking about how do you get the public to understand what's happening or what's on when it's so difficult now that we don't have print media. And Googling is a great idea, but if you don't know what to Google, how would you know what you wanted to see? And this is Glen Curnow from Explosive Promotions, who does and has to nut out nutty ways. Is that the way to put it?
Nutty ways, that's a good
nutty
way
ways.
It. Yeah.
But not only that, you have to be able to print the material if you've got posters or handbills or Call Flute signs or whatever that stuff. Where do you think it's going?
We've got some new backpacks that are actual digital. So instead of the regular walking billboards, which are just still and they do light up, but the new digital backpacks can show moving images.
Like the signs, like the sign is alive.
So it's
like a
basically
screen.
basically one of our lads walking around with a TV on their back, and so it's going
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's
It's great to talk to you about this because we see these things. It's like you said, standing at the top of the railway station escalators or whatever, and suddenly you're confronted with a knight handing out bits of paper. It does make you sort of stop.
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And we love doing that type of thing. And I've certainly dressed up in my fair share of mascots along the way, and I don't mind doing it. No one knows who I am in the costume.
No, but even though it's your company, the fact that you still have that hands-on experience.
I'm very hands-on. And
does that help you understand people responding to this or to that? Do I need to do...
I think so, yeah. So keep your finger on the pulse, and...
well, it's the background of being a performer, is that, listening to the audience and responding accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Can't keep myself off the stage. That's the problem, I think. And
what about your family? Do they think you're a funny man?
Oh, no, well, that's debatable. Yeah, I'm very good at dad jokes, but well, my daughter, she's a performer herself, and a very good performer, I think. Singer, dancer, and
she does it all.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, triple threat. So,
yes, and that's what you've got to be these days. But you've extended that to like another whole genre of performance.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of the staff that work for me, they study, and a lot of them actually study
at the conservatorium. The new music theatre course.
Yeah, that's right. So that gives them a bit of a different access.
Well, they understand that it is a performance.
Yeah. That's
to interest the public to hang about and watch for a minute, I guess.
And I've helped a lot of students through the years get a little extra cash and get through their studies.
While they're learning.
Yeah,
fantastic. Glenn, it's been lovely to talk with you because it's just interesting to hear from as I said before, we'll walk past people that are doing this and sort of ignore them. They're invisible. And I've certainly been through that experience myself. And you think, if only you just have a look at this, it might be something you really want. And you'll never know you've missed out on an opportunity.
So make sure you get a flyer from anyone handing them out.
Yes, exactly. Because where are they going to go otherwise?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And even though they may end up in the bin, it's still the opportunity to find out that something's happening.
Absolutely.
Then it's been great talking. Thanks so much for being on OurTime.
It's been lovely. Thank you, Malcolm.
A pleasure. And until next time on OurTime, keep yourself nice till then.